Hi, everyone. Happy Easter. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Ginger Pierce, and I'm one of the travel agents with Marvelous Mouse Travels. We are the agency that runs this Facebook group, as well as several others that are centered around different destinations. We are also a U preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts, and we were chosen by them as the top travel agency in the country for 2019. So that was a huge accolade, and we were really excited about that. Welcome to Sundays with MMT. This is a weekly live agent panel video series that we do in one of our Facebook groups every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we are really excited to be in this group tonight to talk to you about the prime value and preferred on-site resorts at Universal Orlando. So we have a lot of information that we're going to be sharing with you tonight, but we also want to save some time at the end of the video to take your questions. So if at any point you have a question about Universal, feel free to go ahead and drop that into the comments, and then we will get to all of those at the end of the video. We are live using a platform known as StreamYard, and so if you do want to post a question or a comment, then StreamYard might ask you to approve it to display your username and your profile picture. Just know that you don't have to allow that. You can decline that permission, and you can still post your comment or your question anonymously, and we'll be able to interact with you on screen. But I am joined tonight by three awesome Marvelous Mouse Travels agents. So ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. And if you would just take a second to introduce yourself, tell us how long you've been with the agency and what's the best way for people to contact you if they're interested in planning a vacation.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sonia Delario. I am a master planner, and I have been with Marvelous Mouse for over 4 years. The best way to contact me is by the email that you see right there, sonia@marvelousmousetravels.com, or visit me on Facebook at Sonia MMT.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Conkle. I've been with the agency since July of 2018. The best way to reach me is by email as well. It's jenna@marvelousmousetravels.com.
Hi, everyone. I am Holly Riley. I've also been with the agency for over 4 years, and I'm a master planner. And you can either reach me at my email, which is at the bottom of the screen there, or on my Facebook page, which is Holly's Mouse Travels.
And again, I'm Ginger. I am a master planner as well, and I'm about to celebrate my 3rd anniversary with the agency next month, actually. And the best place to contact me is actually my blog, which is gingermmt.com. That has a lot of blog posts, but it also has links to all of my different social media platforms there. So we're talking tonight about Universal on-site hotels, and Universal obviously has lots of great on-site resort accommodations to choose from, and they fall into 4 broad categories, which are value, prime value, preferred, and premier. And there are different amenities and different inclusions that are part of each option. And so we did already an overview of Universal's on-site premier hotels, and if you missed that a few weeks ago, I will link that in the comments for you at the end of this video. But we're here tonight to talk about those prime value and preferred on-site options. And so, ladies, let's talk first about prime value. Which of Universal's on-site resorts fall in the prime value category?
That would be Cabana Bay and Aventura.
Yes, that is correct. I have stayed at both of those properties. I'm sure that many, you guys probably have as well. Love them both for different reasons. I think that Aventura, being a little bit newer, has some really neat things about it. But then Cabana Bay is kind of that classic, flagship resort for Universal. And so I thought that a fun way for us to kind of discuss this would be to play almost like a fill in the blank game. And so for Cabana Bay, let's start with Cabana Bay. Finish the sentence for me, ladies. Cabana Bay is the best resort for families who want blank. What would you put in that blank?
I would go for activities because they have the bowling alley, the lazy river. There's so much to do at that resort.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's the best for the families who want to spend a day at the resort and not go to the park because of all those activities that they have there with the lazy river, the game room, the bowling alley, and just that you could do the s'mores at the campfire at night also.
Yeah.
I would say also, if you want easy access to Volcano Bay, because Cabana Bay has its own private entrance over to Volcano Bay. So if that's a priority for your vacation, it's definitely very convenient.
Yes, absolutely. I would fill in that blank by saying it's the best option for families that want space, because Universal has a lot of family suite options. It also has those great 2-bedroom suites, which sleep up to 8 people. And so if you're looking for more space, but you still want to stay at an affordable price point, then I think that Cabana Bay is an excellent choice. But everything that you guys have shared, is also a great point. There are so many things to do at that resort, from bowling to swimming to, playing in their game room, to all of the different things that you guys mentioned. And you are just a quick, walk over to Volcano Bay through your own private entrance. It's a phenomenal option. Now, if you've never stayed at Cabana Bay before, Cabana Bay is kind of a retro theme. So it's themed after beach resorts of the 1950s and 60s. And for that reason, sometimes people will get into the rooms and, there's linoleum and stuff on the bathroom floor. And sometimes people will be like, oh, it's really dated. Well, it's supposed to be, right? Like it is a retro theme. And so just keep that in mind. You are going to see things like linoleum in the bathroom. You are going to see some, retro looking furniture, but that's intentional because it is, part of the theming and the immersive atmosphere of Cabana Bay. So let's move over to Aventura. Aventura is the newest of the prime value options. It's not the newest on-site resort, but it is the newest in this category. It was built in, I want to say October 2018 is when it opened. Maybe it was a little before that, but definitely one of their newer properties. So I'll pose the same, fill in the blank prompt for you guys. Aventura is best for travelers who want blank. What would you say?
Techie stuff.
Oh, go ahead, Holly.
People that are more like new age and like techie, because you control everything in the room with your iPad.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I think Aventura is great for someone who would like a rooftop bar. It's the only rooftop bar on property, the property hotels. It's got a great atmosphere, and the sunsets from up there in the evening are absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm. That's totally true.
Yeah, it's definitely modern. So definitely the opposite theming of Cabana Bay.
Yeah.
So, but you still have that same, price point. But I also like that it's very easy to navigate because it's tall, but smaller, like hallways, one building. So I think it's really good for families that don't want like a huge resort. They want something smaller.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jenna, because as much, as I love Cabana Bay and think it's a great option, it is a little bit spread out depending on what building you end up staying at. And so you can be walking a while to get to dining or to get to resort transportation. Whereas at Aventura, everything is centrally located. All of the rooms are interior entry. It's just a quick elevator ride down to the food and the bus stop and everything. So that's a really good point. I would probably say that Aventura is best for people maybe who want like a more adult or upscale atmosphere, because Cabana Bay is really geared towards children, families with kids. And Aventura has great things for kids too. They have games by the pool, they have a splash area, they have a lot of fun things for kids, but that would also be a great choice for adults. If you're going just you and your significant other, or maybe a group of friends, you're going as adults to the parks together, that can be a really great option, and it does have those beautiful views from their rooftop bar, which I think, Sonia, you brought that up. That's a really good point too. So let's move over to our preferred category. And there's actually only one resort that is in the preferred category at Universal, and that is Sapphire Falls. So let's play our same fill in the blank game here. Sapphire Falls is the best resort for people who want blank.
A big pool.
Yes, that is true.
It's a great pool too. I think it's my favorite on property.
Yeah, it's definitely a good option. What else would you guys say besides the pool, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the largest pool on site at Universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I also think convenience, because you have the water taxi
Yes.
that goes to City Walk. That is a really nice perk if you want the convenience to the parks without paying the price of the premier resorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because all of the other on-site properties that have that water taxi are premier.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the only one that's not in that premier category that has that perk. Yeah. Anything else that you guys would want to add about it? I would probably, if it were me, filling in the blank, say if you want great dining options. I think there's really good dining options at Sapphire Falls, and I also just really love the vibe of that resort. Like, it's very laid back, kind of Caribbean, tropical. It's, it also would be a great option for people who are maybe on an adults only vacation, because it's just sophisticated and upscale, and yet it's still comfortable. You don't have to worry about like, oh, are my kids going to break something or like stain something or something like that. So it's accessible, but it is a little bit, it's just elevated a little bit over those prime value options.
Yeah. Best beds as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
They're so comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you can't overstate the importance of comfortable bed in a hotel, like definitely something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know among a lot of the agents in our agency, if you ask people what their favorite on-site resort is at Universal, a lot of our agents will say that their favorite is Sapphire Falls, which, it really kind of surprised me at first, because it's not one of those hotels that offers the unlimited express pass. But I think because it does have such comfortable beds and such great dining and so many other things to recommend it, that it is just like a lot of people's favorite. Even our travel professionals who travel to Universal all the time, a lot of them, that's the one that they're going to go for their own personal stay, which I think says a lot. So speaking of on-site hotels and speaking of on-site hotel perks, what are some of the perks that come with a stay at one of these prime value or preferred hotels?
One of them is early park admission.
Mm-hmm.
That lets you into the park 1 hour before the general public, which is great for those busy days.
Again, the proximity to Volcano Bay, they all have a very good walking path over there.
Yeah.
Very easy to get to.
That's a great point. If you're wanting to spend some time at the water park, that's the place you want to be in, because it is going to be the closest trek over there. Let's talk for a second about, capacity limits. And this is a question that I see in this group a lot. People are saying, do I get guaranteed entry if I stay on site? And here's the thing. There is no guaranteed entry at Universal right now, but there is priority entry for on-site guests. And so, that is still something to keep in mind with these capacity limits in place, that, you can, have priority admission over people who are not staying inside. Now, again, that's different from a guarantee. And if you want to kind of ask some questions about that, feel free to reach out to one of our agents and they can kind of walk you through what that looks like. But that, in this day and age of reduced capacity and people being concerned about not getting into the parks, having that priority entry is another really great reason to consider staying on site at one of Universal's properties. And as Sonia already mentioned, that early park admission, that's another, another perk or another leg up on, people who are just coming in as day guests, and that you do get that early entry and a greater chance of getting into the parks before those capacity levels are reached. And so I think that the importance of being on site right now really kind of can't be overstated, because there's just a lot more factors to consider regarding getting into the parks and stuff like that. So last question that I'm going to ask you ladies before we take some questions from people who are watching is, why does it benefit travelers to book their Universal vacation through a travel agent? What do you guys think?
Well, it's definitely a benefit to be able to customize the trip to your family. So if there are things like you really want that quick access to the parks, an agent would be able to recommend what might be the best fit for you as far as picking a resort, or even picking park tickets, and helping you navigate those questions about, like you said, the early park admission or the access to the parks. So those would be probably my top benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. They can help you navigate through the updated policies and procedures. And like Jenna said, help you pick the best fit for your family.
Mm-hmm. Also, too, I think it's important to keep in mind that so many things change so much, especially even things you can't necessarily plan for, like changes that you don't see coming, like somebody gets exposed and gets quarantined and you have to move your trip. Like, you have one person to reach out to and say, hey, I need to move the dates of my trip, instead of having to wait through the call queue, which in recent weeks has been a 90-minute plus wait, most days. And so it's so much easier to just email or text or call your travel agent and say, hey, I need to make this change, or can you, check on the price to upgrade me from tickets to annual passes, rather than sitting on hold for 90 minutes to go through Universal to take care of that. You're reaching out to your agent. And keep in mind that service costs you nothing extra over and above just the price of what you would pay for your vacation to book it yourself on Universal's website, because, agents do not charge for their services. Anything else that you guys want to add before we move over and take some questions?
I did forget to mention that Aventura is probably my favorite, my kids, because they love that the robots can deliver things to your rooms.
Yes. And that is not science fiction. That is actually a thing that happens at Aventura. They're so cute too, those little robots. Like, they're adorable. And with distancing and safety measures and stuff, you don't have to worry about a robot coming to your door. So, yep. That's a great point too. My kids really love the splash area at Aventura as well. Like, it's a really fun, it's very simple, but it's super fun for kids. And my kids played there for hours. I mean, until we pulled them out, we were like, you're wrinkled. Like, we had to get you out of the water. They would have stayed there all night if we had let them. So let's see if we have any questions over here. Hello. Hi. Oh, good. I'm glad you found us. Oh, I'm assuming that's in response probably to early entry or priority entry or something like that. So yes, those are definitely good perks. Okay, I'm going to check and see. I think that's all the questions that we have in real time. Obviously with it being Easter Sunday, not everybody may be able to watch us live tonight. So just keep in mind that if you're coming up on this video after it's no longer live, and you're watching the replay, you can still drop those questions in the comments and we can still come back and answer those for you after the fact. Or if you're interested in planning a vacation, you can reach directly out to one of the Marvelous Mouse Travels agents and we can start working with you on those more specific elements of your vacation. I think I saw one more comment. Oh, you're so welcome. We're happy to do it. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight with for Sundays with MMT. We had a lot of fun chatting with you about Universal Hotels. And if you'd like to get some information about planning a vacation from any of the agents that you heard from tonight, you can feel free to reach out to any of us. And just remember that our planning services, like I mentioned earlier, are completely free to you. And it is no more expensive to book your vacation through a travel agent than it would be to book it directly on Universal's website. We also work on all types of vacations, everything from theme parks to all-inclusives to cruises and beyond. So feel free to reach out to your preferred Marvelous Mouse Travels agent, or you can go through our agency's, contact form if you would rather be matched with somebody that way. Next week, we're actually going to be live in our Walt Disney World group. We're going to be giving an overview of the moderate resorts at Disney World. And then in 2 weeks, we are going to be over in our Disneyland group getting a review of Disneyland's food festival. And we're also going to be talking about some reopening info for them, which I know all of our friends over on the West Coast are super excited to hear about the reopening of Disneyland and Universal Studios Hollywood, and starting to see things move in a positive direction for those theme parks. So we're excited to talk about that with you. But thanks again for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you again next week at 8 p.m. Eastern for another episode of Sundays with MMT. Bye, everybody.